Welcome to the Nostalgia Train Book Club. That's our new intro since we can't have intros anymore.
Just you and the guest being like, whoa! Oh, shit. Oh, I had it playing in a different tab, and it was noising. There we go.
Yeah, that's why I was, like I said, I was scared to share the screen because I thought that's what happened to me last time. Well, anyways, here we are back doing book club again. Struggle busing our way along, or struggle training. Is that a thing? Like, why not?
Absolutely.
What book do we read? Oh yeah, The Giver was this month's pick. I feel like I forgot how to stream. Okay, so we normally say our history with the book. I feel like this is one of those books that I've just always known about. I think people read it in school. Like, I remember seeing the cover. Yeah, I remember seeing the cover with that old man on it and thinking it was like a much older book than it actually is. Because what did we just say? Came out in 93. So it's old, but it's not like,
it's older than me.
Yeah, it's more like a modern classic, I guess you could say. And we talked about modern classics when we did The Outsider. So I don't know if you could call it a modern classic, but I would, because people were reading it in school, and to me, a school book.
Well, I read John Green in school. So, and that was like fresh-ish at the time.
Okay, that's fair. So yeah, it's one of those books that I'd always seen around, and I saw that old man on the cover, and I think I had no idea what it was about. Like, no idea. I didn't know this was like genre fiction at all. I thought it was like a serious book. I didn't even think it was like for kids. It had like an old man on it. Like, that doesn't seem like marketed towards kids.
Old man, old people.
Yeah. So then when the film came out, which we discovered was in 2014.
Yes.
I saw the film and I remember I liked it. And then, yeah, just in general, I thought it was a nice movie. Because like it's partially in black and white, and then the color comes just like in the book. Oh, maybe I should put the spoiler bit.
I mean, is anybody watching to give?
Is anybody watching in general? Period.
No, I was gonna say to give a shit, but then I was like, can I say shit on this channel? But I've just done it twice, so here we go.
Here we go. Yeah, there's no rules here. Oh, yeah. So then I read the book because we did, for the book club, Newbery Nostalgia readathon. And this book was a Newbery winner in the next year, 94. So, yeah. So I read it and I liked it. And I was just telling you backstage, Anne, that I continued in the series because my mom recommended it. And I did not enjoy the sequels. Well, I gave up on book 3. So
completely different from the first one. Different characters, different, storylines.
Yeah, book 2 was completely different, and then I started book 3 where it seemed like they were going to tie it together, but then I wasn't into it anymore. So, yeah. So that was me. Now you.
I've never heard of this book before the book club, and I've read it.
Really?
Never. I've never heard of the movie. Everything is new to me.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I guess maybe it's just because there are sometimes differences with what you're supposed to be reading. We read a lot of like German books in like middle school, so that's probably when you would have read it, or people around. So I love that mug.
Sorry, I was like, oh my gosh, I need coffee all of a sudden. Wait, I might still have a sip in there. Okay. I saw that you in the Discord were saying you weren't quite vibing with the book.
No,
which was so interesting to me because when I read your book, I was like, oh, I bet she has The Giver as a comp to her book.
That's what I was feeling too. I was like, this is too much like my book. Did I ever, like, in my brain, I was like panicking, like, okay, did I ever maybe hear about this book and then like base my book on this book that I never even read? But the panic was there, like, oh no, do people think I stole this? Like, calm down. Nobody gives a shit. But yeah, I feel like the whole setup of the world, it being so impersonal and a lot of like choices being taken away, that's very similar. And I don't know, it just felt too close to home. I was like, okay, this is kind of like my story, but not quite.
Yeah, your story definitely has some different elements with well, I guess it is kind of they more like have as a society their memory removed, and in yours it's like individual people.
It's basically the same thing, honestly.
It's actually, I didn't even think about that, but yeah, there are a lot of parallels, but I think that's just has to do with the sort of dystopia
Yeah,
films.
right.
And you're
I mean,
also
like,
a little bit
divergent. You go.
old because yours has a romance in it,
Right.
where this is skews younger, more middle grade.
I'd also like to think mine is better paced than this is, but
Yeah,
you
it
know.
definitely just has a different target demographic. But yeah, there are definitely parallels in the theming and the world building. Should we start with what's the? I know I have banners, plots and pacing because you were talking about pacing. So
I felt like it was off. It like half of the book is us just getting to like the main plot. It's just we're seeing him live his life, which is important to set up like the whole world and the characters and
mhm.
such. But I feel like nothing happens for the first half of the book or something, like until we get to the ceremony, and even then, I don't know. I feel like it's missing action. I don't just generally in the end then I don't feel like it's tied up very well, and I know cliffhangers
Mm.
exist and therefore reason, right? But this book literally ends with him reaching wherever he needed to get, and then it ends. We don't see a
Yeah.
conclusion of him ever achieving anything other than getting there. We don't know if he saved the baby. For all we know, they could have starved the next day on that hill. We don't know, you know.
I quite like the ending, but you do have a point with the beginning that there is. The first time I read the book, I really liked it, and now on the reread, I was kind of like, it's a lot of setup
Yes.
For kind of a, I don't know. Yeah, there is a lack of urgency there at the beginning, but maybe that's supposed to be part of the theming. Like, I know that later Jonas is like, thinking about how his life they can't be strong emotions, so maybe
Right.
it's supposed to thematically be the plan.
Yeah, probably because he doesn't have emotions until like way later, right? So it would all just
Yeah.
be very linear, I guess. It just, I don't know. I feel like if I had read this earlier and there wasn't like a reason for me to read it, like the book club, I would have definitely DNF'd it because I've been like, dude, where's the story? When do we get to anything? You know?
Yeah, I don't know. I quite liked it on my first read, but again, I had seen the movie already, so I kind of knew what was going on. But yeah, this reread, it definitely felt a little more boring to me, but I don't know. Okay, like as for the.
Yeah, I was gonna go into plot, but you can
Oh,
change that.
same. Yeah, I was just gonna do the same. I was just gonna say, yeah, we just sort of get a basic setup about the society that they live in. That's kind of how the plot starts out, the family structure, and then we slowly learn that they're not even like related as a family.
That was
They're not
insane
at
to me. I
all.
was like, what?
Yeah, they're not at all genetically related. It's just like a
And then
societal structure.
I thought about it. Don't they go into like their jobs when they're like 12 or
Yeah, they
something
go
like
into
that?
like the training. It's a little bit like ambiguous. Like they go to start their job training at age 12.
Because I was like, well, even if they have like 4 or 6 years of training, how old are the birth mothers going to be when they have children? Like, are they going to be
Oh, I
16 year
didn't
old
think about
mothers?
that.
Yeah. Because,
Oh,
I
a
mean,
good observation, Anne. I didn't think of that one at all.
maybe they also just go into like delivery first, like deliver a couple of years and then they have babies until their body's mature. Or maybe they don't give a crap and just have them, have babies at
It's
16 and
always Anne when you're on the channel that you ask these questions, like in the Hunger Games theme, when you're like, are
Right.
they doing like teenage porn on the people hook up
I'm
during the
sorry.
games?
I asked
We're
the
like,
question
oh god.
everybody wants to have an answer to.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think they have to be age 12 to keep it like in that middle grade
Right.
marketing. But yeah, that makes a kind of a interesting. I think an age like 14, 15 would maybe make a little more sense, but
Right.
that's to start a job training, but whatever. Uh, yeah, we're not supposed to think too hard about that. I don't think.
Right. I mean, at the same time, I feel like if they are not so involved with emotions, it wouldn't really matter to them. Like if they're like, nah, to to everything. Maybe having a kid that early wouldn't also be a problem because if you don't have strong emotions,
There's a small fly flying around. I guess so. Yeah, if you're just thinking about it very yeah, scientifical, I guess. I
Right.
guess, yeah, 12 is like when a lot of girls go into puberty, but some don't um reach puberty till they're older, so
Well, those just wouldn't be selected as specialists. They just get a different job.
they, true, yeah, because they're kind of like spying on the people, it kind of seems like.
They
Um
absolutely are. It's like, "We've watched you. We know you. You are the one." And I'm like, "Okay, tone it down. What the fuck?"
yeah, even like when he was like, "Oh, I one time like took an apple and then they like put over the intercom."
That's also just I think that's bullying personally. I
Yeah,
know
it's
that
like
government
public
they can do
shaming,
whatever
but they keep it anonymous, but it's like
I mean,
very
everybody
specific.
sees who took an apple, right? Like, it can't have
Yeah.
been that many people. It's
Yeah. Just make it very specific about that person too. Like, no 11-year-olds taking apples.
I find it interesting that they had to share their dreams, like, when they had a dream.
Yeah.
'Cause that's also, I feel like, observation. Like, I don't know how that works, obviously, if maybe the parents had to report anything, if anything, like, worrying would happen, but I feel like
Mhm.
maybe there would be a rule like that. It would sound like make
It
sense
does
in that
seem like
sense.
that it's sort of this like group accountability that the whole society is
Right.
keeping each other accountable.
Yeah,
So
that's
that they
so
call
insane.
each other out for breaking the rules.
Thank you for your apology. Yeah,
That is so funny how they did that. Like it didn't matter. Like they just had to always yeah,
I mean,
I
that
don't know.
must
It
be
was
so, like,
interesting.
frustrating as the person, you know? Being like, "Oh, damn, I didn't use a word that's, like, concrete enough. Let me just apologize for using a generalized word."
The
What?
word usage thing was crazy to me. I didn't even
Yeah,
pick up on it like the first time I read it, and this time it really stuck out to me as like, what a weird nitpicky thing that they were
honestly.
so strict about the language.
I mean, I
Mhm.
guess it makes sense, like, you gotta keep people in the lane, and I don't know,
I
it's
also
odd.
thought it was interesting the ceremony. So it seems like every year there's a ceremony, so it's not just like the ceremony of 12, like every age is having its ceremony the same day. Is that how it works? Did
2
I
days.
understand that
So
correctly?
on the first day,
2
it's,
days.
like, all the smaller ones up until, like,
Yeah.
8 or 9, and then on the second day, it's, like, the older ones.
Okay. Okay, so it's the same like time of year, this event of all the ceremonies. Because first
Yes.
when he's like, "Oh, the ceremony of 12," but even how they explained how the babies are distributed, they're like, "Oh, they're like
Interesting.
1 years old, but some of them are younger because they're not all born at the exact same time." So I was
Right.
like, "Oh, okay." So it's kind of messing with my head. So it's like, "Oh, it's the ceremony of 12, but the kids are probably also spanning in age."
Right, they could be anything between 11 and 12, or 12 and 13, whatever you wanna
Yeah,
say.
probably between 11 and 13. They're probably in a quite a again, that wasn't really fully explained.
No.
So it's kind of one of those things like in Divergent where it's like you just have to accept it, like
Right.
because they also have a ceremony there, and it's like her and her brother are in the same year, even though they're not the twins or something. And I was like, huh, what?
I mean, it doesn't really matter anyway, right? It's just
It, yeah, but it's just one of those things as a reader where you're like, wait a minute.
I found it interesting that with every specific age, there was a new thing, like, that came with it. Like, obviously, with 12, the jobs, but then I think his sister's, like, 6 or 7, and then she gets a bike the next year, and she's super excited. I thought that was such a trivial thing, but it was for them so big because it was the one thing they'd get with that age. And
Yeah,
it's
like the bike seemed like a huge honor for them,
yes,
um, as it seems to be the main mode of transportation around
the
their
only one.
society. Yeah. So I was like, but I don't know. I kind of thought you would get a bike younger. I don't know how old you were when you learned to ride a bike, but I thought that was kind of late for them to get a bike. But they did discuss that they talked about making it younger. So I was like, okay.
Yeah, also the fact that bikes apparently weren't so strictly looked at because everybody was like, it's okay to break the rules on the bike."
Mm-hmm.
Which I was like, "What did the bike do to be so special?" Like, everything else
Yeah,
you
it
don't have.
seems, yeah, in some areas they were totally fine breaking the rules. In other areas they were very strict. So,
Yeah, and it
um,
doesn't make logical sense to me where they would be strict and where they would be lean with it, but
yeah. Yeah, so the main thing that's like you said, the main plot thing kicks off with the ceremony of 12. And again, this came before Divergent, but like this I just think of Divergent so much. So like it must have been inspired by this or just a standard trope of the genre, I guess.
I
Sort of
mean,
a
it does make
choosing
sense to have
ceremony.
something like that. If there is a distinction between people, as it is with jobs in this, or with fractions
Yeah,
and Divergent. I mean, there's also kind of a ceremony in the Hunger Games, it being the reaping, right?
the reaping, yeah. Yeah, so I
So
think it is just a trope, but it just felt very yeah, it felt very tropey, like going through all
yeah.
the numbers that they were like assigned a number also. And
How
then being
boring must that be to sit there for 2 days and just watch other people get things? Like people you probably don't even know.
yeah, I also found it a little bit like, okay, but I
If
don't
there's
know what you
12
could have done to
years, just
jazz it
do
up.
one a month.
Yeah, why not? That would make more sense. The monthly ceremony winners or whatever. That makes way more sense, Anne.
I mean, yes, but then you have the problem of two people having the same age at the same time. So those who were 7 now become an 8, but the 8s are still an 8 until the next year. Unless you start with the 12s. And then there's no 12s for a month until the 11s age up to a 12, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, or you could have it like, I don't know, like a quarterly thing, like everybody born in this season has their ceremony. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think we're thinking way too much about the world building.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like sometimes authors leave world building open so that you can interpret it and make it your own, whichever you think is best suited for the story and everything. But maybe she just didn't think about it. Maybe, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, this is middle grade, so it's like it's for younger readers. And I didn't think about these things the first time I read it either. I was just like, okay, it's like a strict utopia society. This is
Okay,
what it
but you were
is.
trotting through books for your book club. It's not like you had like a month to think about a book like you did this time.
Yeah, that's true. Um, okay, so do we have anything else to say about the plot? Yeah, then it kind of
I
picks
mean,
up with him getting lessons from the giver.
right. Which again, that's obviously story and plot, but it's still not, it doesn't like excite me in a way where it's like, oh, stuff is finally happening. Like he's just laying on a bed receiving memories. Like this
That's
isn't like
true. Yeah.
he's not
Yeah.
actively doing anything.
And it didn't, to me, it didn't, well, especially on the reread, it really didn't feel that exciting when he starts getting the memories, especially because it's one of those things where, like, us, the audience, knows that these are like regular things.
Right.
So even though it's like earth shattering for him, we're like, yeah, that's the color red, dude. Like, that's snow. That's a hill. He didn't know the word hill. Like,
See, but that again tied me back to my book where I used a cow as an example of an everyday
I
thing
know,
that he
I
learned.
thought of it too.
And I was like, what? Yeah. Which is funny.
I
I
especially
don't know.
thought about the cow because of the young children have their like comfort object,
Right?
and
And it's
and
all
he thought
animals.
they
I
were
don't
he
know.
thought they were mythical creatures.
I mean, who knows? Maybe all of our mythical creatures are real somewhere.
Yeah, probably,
I love
totally.
that.
So yeah, that was pretty funny when he realizes, oh crap, these are all real animals.
Right. Yeah. I don't know. I feel like coming back to the plot, it doesn't feel like the plot starts until the giver and him start to be like, we got to change something. Like that's really where for me the plot of the book starts, and that's like what 3/3 through the book,
Yeah,
maybe
it's
more.
quite late. Yeah,
Yeah.
yep, it's late in the book. Yeah, so like I said, I didn't even realize that the pacing was a little bit weird the first time I read it, but yeah. Mm,
Also, I don't know. I feel like all of that has to do with them coming up with a plan in the end. All of that is kind of like eh, to me because like why would this man that has all of these memories, all of these feelings, never think that he be capable to change anything? If he has all these memories of courage and of bravery and all of that in him, if he knows those things exist, if he knows there was a different world before, why would he not think to do this sooner? Why did he have
yeah.
to watch his daughter kill herself, basically? Because when they pass on, they get injected and die. But why did all of that have to happen? And then when the next kid comes along, he's like, "Oh, maybe we should change something." What?
Yeah, you would really think that his daughter would have been maybe more of a motivation for him to
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't know. I also think that him being like, "Oh, thank God, like you gotta leave and I gotta stay." I don't know. That doesn't make sense. It's not the most logical thing that they could be doing. I'm sorry. It's
yeah.
like, no.
I don't know. The only thing is because of, I was gonna say his brother. It's not really his brother, Gabriel.
Yeah, but it's kind of his brother. I mean,
That's
if
the
they
one
all
thing that's sort of pushing the motivation in the plot forward, is when he realizes that that it means killing.
right, which is insane to put in a children's book. I read
Yeah.
that and I was like, this is middle grade. You can't be putting syringes in babies' heads. Like,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, and the fact that the society is like so glazed over this.
I mean, they don't
Because I
know,
think,
right? The
I
people who
guess
don't
not,
want
but
this.
when his dad was talking about a mom who was gonna have twins, and it was very obvious that they were gonna only have one of them continue, it was like, what the heck? What?
Yeah, yeah. Okay, while that was still happening, we didn't know about the killing. I thought, okay, we know that other settlements. Maybe it just gets put into one of the settlements, right? Those were my
Oh,
thoughts.
okay.
But then the
I don't
father
know.
obviously killed the twin, and I was like, what?
I don't know. Okay, maybe because I had seen the movie, to me it had been very obvious, but I was like, okay, I don't know, but I could see for them it would be earth shattering. But what did they think? I don't know.
Right, but then again, they don't have emotions like we do.
That's
Which
true.
the pill
Yeah.
that they take in the morning, that's what represses their emotions, right? Because when he first got the pill, I was like, oh, is this just to not make him horny? And then I was like, okay, it has to have more than that, if they're all like
Yeah.
dimmed out. But
Yeah.
if it's for all emotions, why wouldn't children get it? Aren't children very emotional?
The most emotional. Yeah.
Then it doesn't make sense for me for them to start it in like late puberty or like early puberty, I guess.
Mm. Yeah. I don't. Well, I mean, they needed to have the pill to explain, why a lot of these basic human nature things weren't
Right.
occurring.
Which
But
I get, but then that to me means this pill doesn't like dim your emotions. It just takes care of the other things. And then again, like why don't they have emotions? Yes, they might not have all of those memories, but can't you have emotions without memories? I guess that's a big question in philosophy.
yeah, but it's I don't know. Again, maybe we're just looking too closely at the at the nitty gritty
Probably.
details. We're just supposed to accept it that that's the way it is, Anne.
They would accept it
Um,
and they would say sorry for not accepting it earlier.
yeah, I'm moving. Yeah, they would say that. So I'm going on to tropes because we've already touched on some of these main tropes, like the choosing, distributing ceremony.
Yeah.
I guess being a very, I don't know, the idea of a society being sorted into groups. So I guess
Yeah.
that's what I would call it. I put dystopia utopia because I think it's supposed to be sort of marketed as a utopia because there's no killing, there's no
And that's
everybody's
a lie.
well,
Yeah.
there's no violence. There's
Right.
no lying. There's healthy people. Everything is
Oh,
yeah,
touching on the
so
healthy people. That was a question I had. Like, what happens to non-healthy people? Do they get injections so they're not a burden?
I'm sure they do. I'm sure they must.
Because we don't know anything about hospitals. We know they get medicine like put to them when they're like in acute pain, but we never heard anything about taking care of had people, wounded people, dying people.
Well, they talk about the old people, how they get released. They go to, what did they call it? The old people place?
Yeah, they have a place, and that's just like where they hang out a little before they get the snip. Like, you know,
Yeah.
the injection. They probably don't get it in their head. They probably get it in their arm, but
We don't know. These are details that we don't know. I'm trying to think of what other tropes. Yeah,
I
just
mean,
sort
the
of
controlling
the
government, right? Like the overbearing.
controlling. Yeah, but in this society, it's really is the giver is the only one who knows all this stuff, right? Like like the rest of the leadership doesn't even know that stuff, right?
I guess. But I mean, they must know how things are done, no? Like at least
I
a
think
little
they must know that, like, okay, the memories of the outside world in the past are like super painful, and we don't want them. But they don't know
bit.
the nitty gritty details other than the giver, right?
I think so, yeah.
So, and I don't know. Does it make sense? No, but it's like, again, it's more of like a discussion novel, like a theme novel. So, yeah. So, yeah, I would even say, yeah, like the injections and the pills, that's very dystopian. And like we
I
said, the surveillance of the society.
also that aim from the government to have everything be as good as possible, like the matching up of the people, the matching up of the kids, the matching up of the people with their jobs. Like I feel like that's dystopian-esque too, where the government's like, we need to make this perfect, you know?
Yes, the pull of control, like, oh, you will be assigned a child who already has a name, and like this will be your family unit. It's very
Yeah.
bizarre.
It's very bizarre. And I feel like they have literally no personal choice at all. They just have to accept how things are.
Okay, sorry again to question the world building, but it's like if they're like stripped from a lot of these like basic human things, like how are they then expected to like bond with this like baby that's like,
I
as
don't
we've
think
said,
that.
somewhere between like birth and a year old?
So what it sounds like to me is more that it's about respecting in a family unit. I don't know if they need to love each other. I think they just need to be okay living with each other until they're like 16, 17, and move out.
I
And
guess. I
then
guess love is probably the wrong word, but like even like that deep caring, like to take
but we
care of a
also
child, like it seems
no, I don't
bizarre.
think they have that. We also learned that they never really see each other again, right? Because there's the adults who have children, there's
Mhm.
adults without children, and then the elders, and they all are like they're separate groups and they don't really
Mhm.
interact, which
Yeah.
is insane. Like you raise a kid for like 16, 17, 18 years, and then you just never see him again? What?
Yeah, then you kind
Yeah.
of like ask like what is a little bit the point of doing society this way? Okay, I guess like to raise the kids, but are they really doing that great of a job? I don't know.
I mean, I'm sure there must be like something because the children are gone most of the day, even when they're not in school, right? They have all of these activities and stuff like that. So I feel like the parents are doing so much of the raising of the children to begin with. Yes, at home, but it seems to me that most of their vital, like learning and input comes from outside.
Yeah, but I guess I have many questions. Maybe this is just a problem with dystopia because like it's like the same idea as like having like a hard magic system or something. Like when you have like hard set rules, you're gonna have like a lot of questions like why are we doing this?
Right. Which I mean, I guess the people who are doing it in that moment don't know why they're doing it. They have no memories of that. There's no like history in that world, right? Basically,
Yeah.
all the history is in the giver's mind.
Yeah.
And so they don't know. They just do what they're being told because
They
they
just
are being
accept it because that is the structure, that is the only life they know.
right. And I
So
mean, if they don't have any opposing feelings, because why would they have opposing feelings if they have none at all? Why not do what you're told?
yeah. I feel like I'm really ripping into this book, but I actually quite like the book. So
What did you give it? 4 stars?
the first time I read it, I really loved it. Like I thought like, wow, that's really good. I'm so glad I read the book, even though I'd seen the movie so many years ago. Like, I don't know. I remember being just like really liked it. This reread was a little bit like less, but again, I had already read it and seen the movie, so maybe it just was over it. I don't know. Maybe it didn't have good rereadability because I think a lot of
No.
the point is like getting to know the world and what's going on, and then
Yeah, there's like
once
two
you know
plots.
that, yeah, once you know what's going on in the world and the details, it wasn't as interesting holding my attention as it was the first time, where it's like, oh, I want to see all the little utopia dystopia details. Like, how did they set it up?
Yeah.
Oh, this is, yeah,
Didn't hold attention at all. I skipped over every single description. I was like, I don't care. Let's move on. Where's the story?
Okay, so your main thing was like the plot wasn't interesting to you. I
Yeah,
thought
but
you
that's
would like
me
it
as a
because it did have parallels to your book, but instead that like you didn't like that.
no. So generally, as a reader, I'm a plot-based reader. I don't care what things look like. I don't care what people look like. I just need I like the plot. I like the big things. So I usually skip over descriptions when they're like extensive. Which is why I skipped all the like memories. But then, yeah, again, the thing with my book, it just, I don't know, it felt
Because your book is also driven by like romance as well. Like you have like more character connections and like stakes within the personal relationships of the characters
yeah,
because
I feel
they're
like my world
older.
is more free than that world, but then my characters themselves are more limited through the removal that's happening because the characters in
Yeah.
this book obviously have their own memories dating back for their entire life, whereas my characters don't have any memories at specific points, which takes all of that like who they are.
Yeah.
Whereas people in the Giver get to at least maintain some of personality.
Yeah. That makes me want to reread your book. Like,
Please go ahead, feel free.
yeah, okay, so I don't have anything more to say about the tropes. I think
No, I
like
think
I said,
it's
I liked the ambiguous ending. I found it kind of literary. I don't know. Like
I don't know. I didn't like it, but that's okay. It did a good job being a dystopia, I think.
yeah. I think so too. It had all like the hallmarks of the controlling society and like the brainwashing and the we're doing this for our own good, being numbed to the pains of the world. So
dramatic.
so dramatic. Do we have anything to say about the prose or writing style? I don't really have much to say about that.
No, I feel like it wasn't like the most lyrical writing I've ever read, but it wasn't offensive to my eyes either. Like it's fine. It's just writing.
Yeah, pretty like I mean plain, I guess. Readable.
Right, but that's how middle grades are supposed to be, like easily readable. And I think it did just that. It wasn't like badly written where it'd be like, oh, come on. But just
no, it wasn't badly written, but it also wasn't like, groundbreakingly doing something interesting. It was just really average, basic. I mean, it won the Newbery. It's clearly a good book.
It's written in third perspective though, right? Because usually children's books, or a lot of them at least, are written in first perspective. Or at least a lot of them. A lot of I read. Maybe that's
I don't know. I think of first person is very YA, but third person could middle grade. I don't know. I think middle grade, to me, middle grade is always the wild, wild west. Like it doesn't have like defined rules like YA does. Like YA, like it's a feeling, and middle grade can kind of be anything.
That's true.
Like where like YA feels very restrictive of what it is, and like I think you see that now also with like new adult and like romantasy. Sometimes I feel like new adult and romantasy are almost like the same thing.
Yeah, they're very like integrated in each other. I think because they came on the market around the same time, and people are like, these two things, they must come together.
Yeah, because I think a lot of romantasy is just like steamy YA fantasy.
I mean, enough people are here for it, right? So
yeah, so I feel like that those genres or categories have more rules than middle grade. Where middle grade, you can have like the protagonist doesn't even need to be a kid. Like it can also like be an adult. Like you can kind of like do anything.
Right, but I feel like middle grade is a big thing, right? Because if you go back to romantasy, there's not just romantasy, there's romantic fantasy and fantasy romance. Like there's three things that are kind of the same, where, middle grade is one thing that has all of the different middle grade things in it. So I wouldn't compare those two because I think middle grade is like a big overarching. Like,
yeah, it's a big category that anything can fall into it. So I don't know. I just always think it's the wild, wild west. Like,
yeah,
I would love to write a middle grade one day. I mean, I still have that one in my back pocket, but I don't think I'll ever get around to doing it. Well, we'll see. Never say never.
See. Maybe.
Okay, let's discuss the theme, symbols, and motifs.
I think there were all that many.
I know. I was thinking about this because we don't have an icon on the Discord, and I was like, "Oh shit, we used the apple for Twilight." was like, what can I use? A sled? Is there a sled emoji? I don't know.
I feel like none of
Uh,
these things symbolize anything other than what they are and the color or like setting that they come in. Because I don't feel like the apple as a symbol did anything other than show us that the color red existed.
no, but I think the color red, like being such like a hot, divisive color as the first color, does have like a symbolism as like a danger color, a temptation color.
Right.
Or maybe the apple is the temptation, like the forbidden fruit of the apple. Like,
Oh, because that's the first
yeah,
thing you see, right, in the
yeah,
book.
it's the first thing he sees. So I'm like, oh, and then yeah, then the red hair, like I don't know. So I do think that the red does have some symbolism there, but yeah, because that was his first color. Hmm. But it was so interesting how they like described it, because like I think as the reader we're supposed to realize that he's seeing a color, but the author can't really say that because he doesn't have like the word for color.
Right.
So she's like, the thing is happening again. Like,
Which, I mean, honestly, that is a great reaction. I think that's very, like, true. Like, if you don't know something, you'd be like, "Oh, the thing," you know?
yeah, so it's not until like he's with the giver that the giver can be like, dude, that's just the color red. And he's like, I know all the colors. I'm like, what a flex.
I mean, I think it's insane that they took I mean, it makes sense, obviously, in the sense of this world, but making it black and white before then, like, how would that even logically happen that you could take colors with memories? Or, like, the feeling of the sun with memories? I mean, that's questioning, again, the world building, but
That's one thing where I think in the film it comes off so much better, the black and white, like it's like wow to see the visual. Where in the book, like obviously as the reader, you're just filling in the blanks. So you're obviously seeing the world in color. Oh, he's outside, you're imagining the grass is green and the sky is blue. And
right. Because there's
yeah.
nothing that mentions it in the beginning.
Well, the only thing that I remember they talked about before they discussed color was eyes. That he had light eyes and everybody else had dark eyes. Or
Right.
most people had dark eyes. So, but he didn't say a color. He just said light and dark. So I was like, okay.
See, I don't read details enough of that.
Yeah. So I remember thinking like, okay, so everybody has like brown eyes and like him and Gabriel have like potentially blue eyes or light gray eyes. We don't know.
Yeah. Even green. Anything's lighter
Yeah.
than brown, I guess.
It could have even been very light brown. We don't know.
That's true.
Yeah. So we just know that there was probably some contrast with the pupil, I guess, versus like a brown eye that maybe was a darker brown. I don't know. It's a little bit ambiguous, but that's the only like thing that I noticed. But again, it's because I had read it before. If I hadn't
Right.
read the book before, I don't know if that line would have stood out to me.
No, I mean, it didn't to me. I had no idea this was in black and white until we're like halfway through, and I was like, "Oh, this is color. Don't we have color?"
Because I feel like also when they were pointing out, oh, Gabriel has light eyes, like your light eyes, Jonas, it was kind of like to say like, oh, you guys could have the same birth mother. It was
Right.
to intro the idea of, hey, we're not genetically related. That's not really a thing in our family structure. So the point wasn't about the eyes, but because I had read the book before, I was like, they're not saying blue, they're not saying brown, they're not saying colors here. So like that was like the only interesting tidbit of knowing like that it was what was going on. um,
Other than that,
okay,
I
I
know
mean,
like the bike kept jumping out as a symbol, but I don't know what it means. Maybe
mm,
it's we talk so much about it in the beginning because that's what he uses in the end to get away. Like that's his
yeah,
vehicle of, getaway, maybe.
yeah,
But
I guess you're right because it's sort of like, I guess freedom, responsibility. I don't know if any of that is important.
yeah, I mean, I
Um,
guess bike is a part of freedom because you can just go wherever you want in the limits of the world.
yeah. Also, what stood out to me rereading this is that the beginning of the book starts with a plane flying over.
Yes.
And that didn't strike me the first time I read it, and then when I was rereading it, I was like, that was a choice to start the book like that. So I don't know. It didn't really pull me in. It kind of, especially on the reread, I was like questioning, okay,
I think that was used in a way to show how obedient the people are in listening to whatever they would say. You know, being like,
yeah,
"Oh, go to the nearest house," and they just do it without question. Like, leave their
yeah,
bikes. Leave all of, I think for me, it was like the show of control. That's what I think. Why that was chosen.
yeah. I don't know. For me, I don't know. I found it an interesting place to start, but again, maybe having like, I don't know, a parallel to, we're going to find out later that there is a bigger, wider world.
It's also mirroring the end, right? Because in the end, there's
Yeah,
planes again searching for him.
exactly. The plane searching for him. And I was like, I didn't pick up on that the first time I read it. Like, I just sort of glazed over the beginning. And this time I was like, okay, we're starting with the planes. So, yeah,
There
I
was
guess that could be
discussion of
a
becoming a
motif or a
pilot
symbol. Hmm?
in the middle. Somewhere in the middle of the book, they did talk about becoming a pilot. So that
Oh, okay, yeah.
was
Yeah,
like
well, we
throughout.
clearly know that there's planes in this world because of the surveillance.
But that makes me wonder how big is this world? Because it felt like to me in the beginning, it just sounded like they live in like a little town and that's it. But if they have
Yeah,
like big plains and large areas that you have to like take days and days to go through, like what? Why do they have these places, all of this land, and just not use it?
I don't know. I think I also imagined it like a small community that's like, I don't know, not
Because I mean,
really a
it
lot
can't be
around it.
big, right? They said there's like 50 kids being born every year, which
Yeah,
50 kids is not a lot.
yeah, it's really not a lot. Yeah, I again, I didn't realize that this discussion would bring up so many like holes in the
I'm
world building.
sorry.
But
I
that's,
mean,
I think that
maybe.
is an issue with like dystopia or utopia. Like the same thing when we read Divergent for book club, everybody was like side eyeing it very hard.
Yeah, I think it's a genre that lends itself to just leave things open to be like, this is how it is. We don't question why it is or how this happened. I just choose something, pick something, love it, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, even like the Hunger Games, a novel which I love and I think the book club loves. It also has like, why is it just like one area responsible for one like resource?
Right. That's kind of dumb. But
You're like, this doesn't really make sense. Like, there's even like a book that's so well written and like so well, loved. That world building also falls apart under inspection.
right. But that's because we think with our brains, like to somebody living in a world like that, they wouldn't question those things. And I think maybe that's
Exactly.
just
Yeah.
why we, with all of our options and possibilities in life, are maybe just too like widely thinking.
Yeah. I also think just as like a dystopian fan, like as a reader, it's like the same as like a fantasy reader or a sci-fi reader. You have like a certain threshold of like your disbelief. Like,
Right.
we're just accepting this as like the genre. This is what it is. Don't question it. So I remember once I was reading like a hard sci-fi and they were like eating sushi in space and I was like, why? What? Like, what?
Wouldn't you want to eat sushi in space?
I was like, this doesn't make any sense. And I was like, well, we're just along for the ride, Violet. You just have to accept that that's how it is. Space sushi, it's a thing. I'm like, okay.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, it is what it is, right? A lot of
Yeah.
I feel like there's almost no book that has some kind of fantastical element or like dystopian element that you can just accept without question. With like contemporaries more, but even then a lot of like contemporary big tropes are things that don't happen. One bad that doesn't happen. I'm sorry, it doesn't. You know, and that's like
Yeah.
such a big thing in the romance world, for example. Or also like all of those like contemporaries where like one thing happens and then another, and then most people's lives are
Yeah.
not that interesting. I'm sorry.
I just liked a reel that was about this, about romance novels, like in small towns. Like, yeah, sure, the sheriff is the one who like personally comes and like does this. Like, it's just, it doesn't make sense a town of that size to have its own sheriff. Like, what? Like,
Yeah. But we don't question it. We accept it because it
we
is
don't
entertaining.
question it. We just accept it the way it is. Yeah, because you're along for the ride of the genre that you're getting into. So, I mean, themes. I mean, I feel like loneliness is a theme for sure, especially with the giver being very isolated, having nobody to confide in. It's very
But
sad.
also him being the only one that recognizes what loneliness is, being lonely, is kind of,
Yeah,
you know,
it's sad.
it is. Because nobody else can relate. Not in the way that, they have a one of a kind job, because he's the only one with that type of job, but then nobody else knows what loneliness is.
Yeah. So I definitely feel like loneliness was a theme. What other themes can we pull out of our head? I guess, yeah, individuality obviously
Yeah.
is kind of stripped from people.
So were relationships, honestly. Like any
Yeah,
type, not just family,
I
but also
was,
friends.
I was thinking about that when we were talking about the family structure. Like, how does it work? Like, the parents are just like co-parents. They're not really a couple. Like,
Right, because there's like no type of affection. It seems
yeah,
like.
so that they're just cohabitating
Which
in
is
roles of parents.
then that makes me question, are there only like male female couples? Are there female female? Are there male male?
Yeah,
Because if
what
they
is the
don't
purpose of
have the
this traditional
biological
family
need,
structure?
yeah.
I also wondered that too. Why did it have to be each family had one male and one female child? I was like, is this the optimal family? Like
I don't know,
a
wouldn't an
two?
optimal family have 4 kids, 2 boys, 2 girls, so that each of the children has one sibling of their own and then one of the other gender so that they could get the full experience, I think, but yeah.
I don't know. I also questioned that that sort of structure of this is the and
I
even
mean,
why are we structuring society like this in a modular families?
yeah, that was my thing because I was like, okay, if all of this is so planned and like, why wouldn't the kids just stay in the same like house group, whatever, until they're 12 and then go into their jobs? Why make it that they are raised by other people if they're like they could just have a job of like children raiser and then it's like the nurserers, but just like older,
Hmm.
one for every year maybe, whatever.
Hmm.
Why have it be families?
Yeah, because they talk about how his dad was like so into kids, and that's why he became the
Nurturer.
what do they call it? Yeah, nurturer. So it's like, okay, so we see that a man can do this job like nurturing. So it's like, then why wouldn't his job be like family structure and then just has like a family with 5 kids
Right.
of whatever gender, whoever needed a caregiver?
Because that would be individual again. If there were different
Uh,
types of families, you have to have the same type of family to
okay.
meet the
Yeah,
individuality.
okay.
But my thing was, why is there not just one big group of all the kids? And then all the sixes live in a house, and then all the sevens live in a house, and all the eights, right? Right? Like something like that. And then they'd just be with people of their age and people who take care of them, obviously. But then those people go home at the end of the night. It's like a job for them.
I don't know. That doesn't sound great either.
No, but I think it almost makes more sense in this world where individuality is taken from you. Because in having parents and a sibling, you are an individual because you have an individual experience in your house, as
Yeah.
opposed to having the same experience as everyone else in your age.
I actually read a sci-fi that was like set on a spaceship that had that structure where like all the kids of the same age were raised together like in a nursery, and it was the same idea that they weren't where they had like birth mothers, so like biological families weren't as much of a thing. So, but they knew who was each other's biological families because of the physical traits. So there was like 2 black kids, and they're like, we must be related.
I mean, fair. Yeah, but see, that's taken away from these people. Because if you don't see eye color and you don't see hair color and you probably don't even see skin color, at least not in like as
Yeah,
detailed
like
way that
he said, like skin color was all the same now. They don't say like what it is, but they said it's all the same. So, and if most people have brown eyes, it's probably sort of like medium tan, I would guess, even though in the movie everybody's white.
right. Yeah. I don't know. The whole family thing doesn't make a lot of sense.
No, it really didn't, but Um, but yeah, I guess that could be like, yeah, individuality definitely is a theme. Any other themes we can think of, or I
Not
mean,
true.
yeah, I guess sort of just hiding the pain and suffering and death, like elimination of these things. Or guess the idea of the theme of like, because he comes to this realization, like without pain and suffering, like happiness doesn't have the same effect.
Right.
Without
It's
the
not like
lows,
up
you
and
can't
down.
have the highs. Yeah.
Yeah.
Without the lows, you can't have the highs. I feel like that's definitely a main theme as well. The bad things make the good better. Overall, I like the book. I understand why it won the Newbery. Yeah.
Do you think if he had come back to the settlement, the memories would have returned to him and been taken from the others?
Ooh, that's an interesting question.
Because as far as I understood it, there must be some like magical barrier, and he must have crossed it. And by crossing it, all of his memories were dispersed between the general population. So therefore, if he went back, would they stay with the general population or like?
Again, this is a world building question that this actually didn't make sense for me at all. Why is it like that the memories, yeah, like a magical, like,
Yeah,
because like a lot of the dystopianness you can sort of like logic, like, okay, there's surveillance, they probably have cameras, like, okay, there's like suppressed emotions because they have drugs,
right.
but like this doesn't make no sense.
No. For me, I was like, is this a dystopian or is this a fantasy? Because that would make more sense. Like, take dystopian tropes and put them in a fantasy setting, and then I could explain this.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It would have been better, I think, if it had been like dystopian fantasy, but it clearly wasn't because, like, in the flashbacks, we're clearly in our world, like war and
Yeah.
yeah, it's clearly a dystopian world, masquerading as a utopia, which seems to normally be the case in these situations.
Yeah. I mean, they always think they're doing the right thing, right?
They do, yeah. Yeah, I mean, that pretty much sums up my thoughts on the book. I don't know if you have anything else to say.
Yeah, no, I'm glad it's over. It it's fine. Like it didn't like offend me, but it's not gonna be like I'll probably hopefully forget about it and be fine with it, you know?
Yeah. Um, I I liked the book. I liked the movie. The reread for me this time wasn't as great. But also I think maybe part of the reason that soured the reread for me was because I had gone on to read book 2 and started book 3 and
Right.
DNF'd it. That knowing that the series goes in a different direction, I think put a bad taste in my mouth.
I see that.
So like if yeah, I think that was part of it because I really liked the book when I had done my initial read, what, a year or two ago. So,
So overall
yeah,
rating, what will you give it? Like all of it?
3.5. So, yeah, you?
2.5.
Fair, fair.
Yeah, but I think it's also
Um,
individual experience, you know. I think other people might still like it because they wouldn't have that eerie like that I have with it. Um,
yeah, because yeah, the uncanniness of having some parallel themes and stuff to your book, some similar tropes, but yeah. I really had thought that you had read this or seen the movie and like had it as like a comp title when I read your
I
book the
was
first
so
time.
overwhelmed with it in the beginning. I was like, "What am I reading? What is this? Why did Violet make me read this? What?" But
Oh,
yeah,
see, I thought for sure you would have been familiar with it. But like I said, I had just seen that cover with that old man's face on it. So I just thought like, well, everybody kind of knows of the giver. But I hadn't known the story until I had seen the movie. So okay. Well, I was gonna say next month, but it's actually this month, technically already October. Lockwood and
is it?
Co. is the pick for the month.
That is a
With
fantasy, right?
yes, I have seen the TV show adaptation. I think the first couple episodes or one episode, maybe just one singular episode. I don't know.
Is it that with the keys?
I'm actually not sure, or maybe I
Okay.
haven't seen the TV show. Is it like Haunted Mysteries or something? We're gonna find out. I looked today, the library hold is super long, so I'm like, I might have to get this as an ebook, which I really hate.
Who's your co-conductor?
I believe Lynn had this one. So we're gonna see how it goes. Lockwood and Co. Yeah, this was the one that was tied in the vote. What was it tied with? I don't remember, but yeah. Well, thank you, Anne, for reading this book, even though you didn't particularly like it.
It's fine. I've read worse books, you know. It's all right.
Well, I wish I had an outro to play, but I don't. Oh, we can end on Brockcat.
Look
Okay.
at him.
Ready, Brock? You're